12 nautical miles off the coast of Tauranga lies the Astrolabe Reef. It is a vital submerged ecosystem that local Maori families have relied on for generations, and it remains a centerpiece of the region's recreational and commercial life. But the reef sits directly adjacent to one of New Zealand's busiest maritime corridors. The Port of Tauranga is a massive commercial engine, servicing the country's multi-billion-dollar forestry and agricultural exports. Early on the morning of October 5, 2011, the captain of the cargo ship Rena realized his pilotage window was closing at 3 a.m. To beat the clock, he manually deviated from the passage plan and steered for a short tide, ignoring the ship's drift as it headed toward the rocks. A minor administrative pressure to hit an arrival deadline overrode basic safety protocols. The ship sailed away from the safe channel and directly into the path of an environmental disaster. Traveling at a cruising speed of 17 knots, the massive 37,000-ton MV Rena slammed onto the submerged reef. The vessel was stuck fast, carrying 1,700 tons of heavy fuel oil and over 1,300 shipping containers. Maritime New Zealand, a small regulatory agency, arrived to manage the incident, but they were geared for oversight, not disaster response. They lacked the heavy equipment and the specialized emergency planning required for a wreck of this scale. This created a dangerous vacuum. A massive, oil-filled ship was grinding against a fragile reef, and the agency tasked with managing the crisis was not equipped to stop it. 5 days later, the weather turned. Storm waves fractured the hull, releasing 350 tons of heavy fuel oil onto the coastline. The regional impact was immediate. Authorities shut down contaminated fisheries, while oiled beaches plummeted tourism revenue. Restricted shipping lanes to the port of Tauranga created a national supply chain bottleneck, freezing commercial traffic and raising costs. Thousands of seabirds and marine animals were caught in the spill, requiring a massive, around-the-clock rescue effort to clean oil from wildlife like this penguin. A single point of failure 12 miles offshore had managed to paralyze the complex economic and ecological lifelines of the entire region. In a bid to manage the spill, officials deployed toxic Corexit dispersants. The move was widely criticized, proving ineffective in rough ocean conditions, forcing authorities to halt the operation amidst a public relations disaster. Chaos grew as it became clear the ship's manifest was incomplete. It took weeks to identify mislabeled toxins on board, such as cryolite, an industrial waste product that had not been properly declared under maritime safety codes. While the institutional response struggled, the community took action. Thousands of volunteers arrived to manually clean the oil, contributing over 20,000 hours of labor. Much of that work involved sifting through the sand for these millions of tiny plastic manufacturing beads that had spilled from containers. Because they were small enough to be eaten by fish and birds, these beads represented a long-term toxic threat to the marine food chain. When official systems struggled with transparency and logistics, the immediate physical recovery of the coastline was driven by the raw willpower of the local community. The situation reached its peak when the Rena finally broke in half, dumping more containers and debris directly into the ocean. What followed was an international salvage effort costing $700 million. Specialist crews pumped out the remaining oil and used heavy machinery to slice away the top half of the ship's superstructure. Despite the effort, the physical reality of the wreck made a full recovery impossible. The stern section slid 50 meters down the side of the reef, while the bow remained pinned to the shallow rocks. This created a paradox. Completely removing the remaining steel would cost over $1 billion and require heavy underwater operations that would likely destroy the reef's remaining ecological structure. To decide the ship's fate, leaders turned to the Maori concept of Maori, the spiritual health and vital life essence of the natural environment. Many in the community initially demanded that the shipping company remove every last scrap of the wreck as a matter of justice. However, ecological assessments revealed that leaving the remaining hull alone was the best way to allow the reef's life essence to recover. The physical act of removal was simply more damaging than the presence of the steel. In 2017, the New Zealand Environment Court issued an unprecedented ruling, granting the owners permission to legally abandon the wreckage on the reef. The MV Rena disaster began with the arrogance of a shortcut, but its resolution required a different approach. After the worst toxins were removed, Environmental recovery required the humility to walk away and let the ocean heal itself.